Can these humbuckers really sound like single coils? Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. PRS sent me this guitar to check out with you guys today, and they're calling it the NF3, but this is part of their import line, the PRS SE lineup, and it's the first time that they've offered 3 of their Narrowfield pickups inside of one of these guitars, and apparently these are supposed to be humbuckers that sound like single coils. I'm a bit skeptical, but I figured we could try it out, but I just fell in love with this color combination. It's so cool. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of maple fretboards when they don't have the super goopy goop lacquer, I decided to pick this one up because that's what's nice about this new series is they actually have rosewood and maple board options for all 4 of the colors, from gunmetal gray, ice blue metallic, pearl white, and the one we're looking at today, metallic orange. And these come in at $800 brand new, so you can check them out at Sweetwater or any other local dealer. So that's the marketing side of it. How does this thing feel? Honestly, I was telling you guys earlier how I'm not really that big of a fan of the maple fretboards, but it feels like they've changed something here. This feels different to me. It's like smoother, not quite as that raw, unfinished. I'm glad I decided to give this a second try because the PRS SE Silver Sky, I wasn't as big of a fan of on that. I suppose in many ways it is kind of similar to the Silver Sky, but like maybe a little bit shrunken down. It's been a while since I've looked at one of those. You know what it really reminds me of? A Fender lead guitar from the 80s. Because it's just like slightly shrunken down. But speaking of changes, sweet, look at our birds. I haven't had a PRS like this before. Usually it's just some sort of a black material, but it looks like we've got some sort of a really interesting, reflective, almost mother of pearl-like look. I know they're all supposed to be birds, but that kind of looks like a cartoonish Texas or a cactus. It's our usual headstock style on this. It's got a decent weight to it. Feels like maybe 8 pounds. It seems like upper fret access will be pretty good with how they've sculpted the body. But besides just the guitar, we also get a soft shell case. It's the brown exterior one with the black interior. You get your complimentary afro in there for shipping protection. And what do you get in the case? Not too much. But you've got your trem bar, your truss rod adjustment tool, looks like an Allen wrench, and a couple of hang tags. So let's go ahead and throw it on the workbench, tear it apart, take a look at all of its detailed specs, and then we'll get to a playing sample of it. Inside our new PRS, here's what I found underneath the pick guard. You've got 3 humbucker routes, so if you wanted to modify this for other pickups, you've got the room. Here's your visual confirmation for that. Just enough. Well, you can see they've got the shielding paint pretty much all over the cavity. You can see some areas where it's kind of scratched away, but they have it up here so it comes into contact with your shielding over here, and you've got the extra deep route for your controls. Now let's take a look at the good stuff. It appears there's 2 different versions of the pickup. The neck and middle are actually both the exact same model, and then you get your bridge, which I kind of tore apart here because I was curious what was going on with this pickup. Because the marketing material says it has taller bobbins than usual, so you can see how tall the pickup is, and that allows them to put more winds per coil. And then it also talks about extra metal pieces between each of the pole piece magnets. So you can pretty much see that here on the top, but by removing our back plate, you can actually see the different pickup bobbins within it. So it's just 2 single coils linked up together. That's how they're able to cancel out the hum. But the pickup has 4 base plate screws that are tiny like such, and then it was also glued on there. And just has your typical height adjustment screws and springs. As far as our switch, seems to be a pretty standard 5-way selector. And we have 2 Korean pots, which are a master volume and a master tone. Within the circuit, the bridge reads about 9K ohms, your neck position 8.22, and then just your middle pickup 8.22 as well. Now your in-between positions is just like your regular 5-way switch. It'll be these 2 pickups together, so that's why it reads 4.31, and these 2 4.13. No fancy push-pulls or anything on this model, because the pickups are fancy enough as they are. But here's a look at the trem system that they all come with. You've got nice saddles on them, and the whole bridge moves. Now let's take a second to appreciate the body. It doesn't necessarily have like a top carve to it or anything. It's just like the contoured edges. Same thing over here, your comfort cut for your arm. And then over here you get your typical PRS swoop in the cutaway. But these are being made out of poplar. I'm not quite sure how many pieces because they're all solid colored finishes. But we've got 22 frets, with once again this one being a maple fretboard option. It's got a lot of cool wood grain to it. I like that. Around each inlay, you can see kind of a golden color. I believe that's what they have to fill in the dead space that the inlay doesn't fit into. So far for me, it's the inlays and the actual feel of the neck that stand out as memorable to me. But PRS is using a 25-inch scale length and a 10-inch fretboard radius. But then our nut measure is 1.69, increasing to 2.06 by the 12th. Quite skinny, 0.82 first fret neck depth. Wow, 0.9 by the 12th. It's advertised as a wide, thin neck profile shape. I would still say C-shaped territory. There's a look at that wide, thin profile on the contour gauge. But you can tell this is a maple fretboard on top of a maple neck. But when you get to the headstock, it looks like they're using a splice of mahogany to cap off your truss rod, which is a dual action PRS style. The truss rod cover has the model name NF3. And no locking tuners this time, just the regular ones. Moving on to the back, I want to grab some dimensions here. I'd say the body's about 12 3/4 inches wide at the lowest bout, whereas the upper bout's almost 10.5. Then the body's just a little bit over 15.5 long. But this is how it's coming stock from the factory. You've got 4 springs on it, and this is the style of block. And you've got this cool tombstone trapezoid backplate with a neck plate that looks vaguely similar. And of course, a nice giant comfort cut over here. But this finish is cool. It goes from like a light orange to a dark orange. It's got a lot of color shift to it, and it is full gloss, but the neck, once again, is satin. But I just remember the last time I tried a PRS SE with the whole maple neck and maple fretboard, it felt like chalky. This one doesn't have that. It's just smooth. But they are utilizing scarf joint construction. Looks like this one might have had a little bit of glue seepage or something. But that's actually impressive how the wood grain lines up here to make it look like it's continuous. But it looks like Cortec are making these for PRS over in Indonesia. And you've got your PRS branded tuners. The only things that stood out to me was the wire management was not that good on the inside. I'm not even sure I got all the wires back in correctly on this one because there's just so many thin wires. Most people aren't going to be bothered by that. I saw some hammering marks on the backside of our trem block and then the white outline over here. If you really want to get in their face, there is a small tooling mark right here by the fret and another one up here by the second. Nothing super crazy. All said and done, this one is just a little under 8 pounds at 7 pounds 14.1 ounces. Let's go ahead, plug it in, and hear how these Narrowfields sound. I don't know about you guys, but I totally believe what they say now. That does sound like a single coil. Yeah, I like that neck pickup. It sounds like a single coil that's like really heavily overdriven. there we go, the new PRS SE model. What are my final thoughts on the NF3? That neck pickup, insanely cool. I love that on the dirty positions. It's just really crazy Stratocaster overdriven to crazy territory without having to push your amp that far. But if there was one word that I could describe this whole experience as, silky. Like, the pickups have a round, warm quality to them, and the neck feels like really soft with whatever finish that they're putting over this. It's very comfortable to play. I found myself actually wanting to play a little bit more lead work on it because of that. So if you hate single coil hum, but you love the single coil sounds, you can believe their marketing on this one. They are humbuckers, and they do still sound like single coils. What I heard today, I was plenty happy with it. So alright, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed checking out this new model, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care. Silky. Silky.
Silky.
Silky.